stop. We can't lose. You can't win if you snooze. So do more and say less. So get up and let's work and be the best. Yeah. You're tuned in to the Steve Gunner Podcast. Yeah. The Steve Gunner Podcast. You're tuned in to the Steve Gunner Podcast. Get up. It's the Steve Gunner Podcast.
Good day to all and welcome to another episode of the Steve Gunter Podcast, where we discuss the steps, the strategies, and the mindset of real estate investing, tailor-made for the pro athlete. We appreciate your time. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. And for that, I am grateful. I'm your host, Steve Gunter, and it's an honor and privilege to be with you today. And we have a very special guest on with us today, Mr. Scott Pridemore, owner of Pridemore Properties and a dear friend of mine. And Scott, look, there's so many things I could say about you, man. And the accolades speak for themselves, but I'm just so happy to call you friend. And every single time you and I get together to just have a conversation, I leave away with 1,000 nuggets, it seems. And so it's an honor to have you on the pod, my friend.
It's totally my pleasure. And I can tell you, I am the one in benefit. I feel like I'm in deficit every time I get around you. Your energy, your business acumen. I'm always learning, in particular when I'm in your company and your presence. So I'm grateful to be here, Steve.
Thank you, sir. That means a lot. I really do appreciate that. Scott, I'm going to get straight to it. First of all, how long you been in business?
Yeah, it's 28 years. When I say that, I have to really process that. Is that right?
28 years. Look, it seems like yesterday, probably.
Yeah, it does. It does. Sometimes at a certain point, years help you as a business person, but at a certain threshold, the years could actually hurt you if you're not really pouring into staying relevant and learning and staying open and coachable. So I'd like to think that I am the latter. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to stay out in the forefront and have a business practice that is very much relevant in this ever-changing world that we call real estate.
You know something, to that point, you are always staying visible as well. You know, whether it's social media or events. I know recently you were, I think you were out in Denver, if I'm not mistaken, for a huge event out there. And how was that, by the way?
Denver was fantastic. Mike and I were fortunate enough to be on stage with Lori Abbey and Steve Shane and Eric Dungy. So it was tremendous. Our S&E family there, we were asked to contribute to a panel discussion for about 125 Denver, Colorado real estate agents.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I learned a ton. We talked about client events and team building.
That's special. Yeah, both really important topics that we're actually hopefully going to dig into today as well. But, you know, I was doing a little research prior to our chat today, and I noticed that over 75%, if I got that right, of your business comes from client referrals and repeat business, Scott?
Yes.
That is massive. What do you attribute that to?
Yeah, I can't say that I always had that percentage, but I will tell you for the past 10 years, every year it's right around that figure. I'd tell you even last year it might even be a little better than 75%. I would attribute it to really just being there, not just during the transaction, but after the transaction, being present in my clients' lives. Client events play a big role in that. And early on in my career, client events were really around one-on-one interactions or inviting clients to dinner or to coffees, getting face-to-face, and really just trying to, I feel like if I've been honored enough to earn someone's business, they're never getting rid of me, right? So I'm going to be there, ever present in their life. I'm going to, we're going to become friends. They're going to know my wife. I'm going to, our kids are going to know each other as for any of those that may have kids. And I think that's where we can really have the most impact, is to add value beyond just the transaction and being present in our clients' lives, caring, connecting them to other providers when they have a need, whether it be certainly a contractor, but an attorney, a CPA. I've been known to connect my clients to tutors for math or tutors for various other subjects. Spanish. I've got a really good Spanish tutor that I refer out to my clients because I have kids, and I've found, these people are good enough to share, and I want to be able to be in a resource beyond just the transaction. I want to be a family member. I think that's the biggest part of what's been able to afford me that high percentage of repeat and referral, is being truly connected and caring.
So your mission is really to have a client for life, or build that relationship up to a point where you guys, for the most part, become friends. Who taught you that?
Well, I can't say that there was in a particular light bulb moment. I feel like I learned that through trial and error, and realizing early on that the best way to really build the long game success of real estate is through going deep on relationships. There are a lot of people in our line of work that are very transactional, and early on in my career, I may have had an element of that, but that is a bit of a hamster wheel. If you're transactional, then many agents burn out, and just really being grateful and coming back to the fact that someone thought enough of me to allow me to let them buy or sell what for many people is their largest asset. That's really profound if you think about it, right? We get caught up in our world of real estate and doing transactions, but what home means to people is much more than a transaction. And we, as agents, if you do a good job, you have to own the fact that you help somebody get to that place. And it's okay to follow up. It's okay to be present in their lives. I mean, we as agents also talk ourselves out of that in many cases. We feel like after the transaction, they don't want to hear from us. Mm-hmm. I'm here to tell you that they do. And if you're coming from a place of value and contribution, they will always want to hear from you.
Oh, that's a golden nugget right there. Scott, I want to show you something, and let me know if you can see this on your screen. Can you see that, Scott?
Yes.
I'm on your website, sir. And as I was going through the site, to your point of being a source of value and offering your contribution to the customer, you have countless videos here, man. I mean, I can go all the way through this site, but what made you guys start this practice? Because obviously you're being an incredible resource to your client when you guys are in person, but even when they go onto your site, onto your social media profile, it's like the same thing. What made you do that?
Yeah, I have to admit, Mike and I started doing video, I'd say back in 2013, maybe 2012. And it wasn't as widely done at that time, and we were not good at it at all. And we like we did it ourselves, and it shows. But the fact that we got into that practice and we got really comfortable doing video and social media, there's no question that those efforts then, no matter how basic, has contributed to, once again, that 75% repeat and referral. And I would tell you that, and we used to post those on Facebook, and then Instagram came along, and then we started, and then we added LinkedIn to the mix, and then a little bit of TikTok, and we certainly get benefit.
You on TikTok, Scott?
Yeah, it is funny, isn't it? So
that's awesome.
Yeah, right. And I might be the only bald guy with a gray beard on TikTok, but I'll take that moniker. Yeah,
that's right.
But the point I'm making is, how can you be in more than one place at one time? Video and social media, like, that's another way. Coming back to the whole idea of staying relevant, no matter how long you've been in the business, I'm here to tell you that video and social media help with that. And as an agent, if you're doing it, that's great, because you really pretty much have to remain relevant. I know that sounds a little bit like, wow, really? That's pretty extreme, Scott. But what I mean by that is everybody in our database knows probably 6 agents, right? And those 6 agents are in their Facebook feed. They're on their Instagram and their LinkedIn. And why shouldn't you be on there? You're the one that helped them buy that house. By you not being in that feed along with those other potential competitors, there's a higher likelihood that you may not earn that business again when that time comes, when they want to buy or sell.
Good point.
So there's just a threshold, I believe, of expectation that our clients have, and they can't really put their finger on what that is. But if you could have evergreen content, or you can produce content on a regular basis and be in their inbox and maybe their mailbox some, and their social media feeds, you're just increasing the chances of getting that opportunity when the opportunity presents itself.
Oof, that is rich. That is really rich. And I want to also speak to something that you just mentioned and this applies specifically to your video team and how they help you guys put together better content. But it all kind of goes to getting the right people on the bus. And I know that you believe in being in business with great people. I've even recognized that with the agents that are in partnership with you. What is your process for finding those people, Scott?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm so glad that you used the word partnership, because that's how I look at it, as the people that we are fortunate to have on our team are true partners. Mm-hmm. We are a team. We're a collaborative team. So what that means is our value proposition is true collaboration. Do we get leads from time to time, sign calls online? Yes, but that is not our bread and butter. And that's really not who we are, meaning a leads team per se. And so to answer your question, how do we gain team members that we would consider as partners? We've never been a team that is really hard on the recruitment tactic. We've always been, hey, listen, have great interactions with agents in the community, whether they're in a certain transaction, any interaction. Once again, like, hold up your end of the bargain, do what you say you're going to do, keep your word, show up in the community. And a lot of that other stuff kind of happens on its own organically. Mm-hmm. And I would tell you, organically is really how we've gained the great team members that we have, is through just interactions. People I was on in a firm with previously that we just became friends. And then I branched off and did my own thing. And then a year or two later, I get a call or an email, and folks that want to come onto the team and be a part of what we're doing. And I would tell you, just building relationships, and then team members have come. So it's not really like we're doing outreach and then we're getting people on board. It's really just being who you are, and people saying, "Hey, I want to be a part of that."
It really speaks to the power of connection and relationship building.
Yeah.
Really going deep in cultivating those relationships. I remember you and I had a conversation some months ago when you were talking about how important it is to lean into that and to really trust that process, as opposed to, playing a game of shelling out, so much money in order to bring in this number of people and see if they're going to match up. I mean, that's just you're spinning your wheels doing that.
Yeah, totally. And here's the thing. We have gotten many inquiries from people that we were not connected to, and we've turned away a lot of people that we didn't think were a good fit, frankly, because the value proposition that they perceived they needed did not align with who we were. And that might look like, an agent that says, "Hey, how many leads are you going to give me?" Mm-hmm. And that's usually, for me, that's at that point, we could wrap that meeting. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the reality is if someone is not going to take personal responsibility on procuring their business and building out whatever it is that they've dreamt this real estate business looks like for them, I can't want it for them. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. They have to want it. Mm-hmm. And that comes from them internally. It's not something that I could bestow on them.
Yeah. To the point of leverage, when you're scaling a business, Scott, what are some things you have to consider when you're trying to scale a business? But then also, what are some parts about the business you want to keep small and really handle with care?
Wow, that's a big one. I would tell you, in order to put yourself as a team leader, to put yourself in a position to grow the team, you have to have your value prop needs to be out ahead, even so much that you're giving more than what you're receiving. So there's a leap of faith as a team leader where you have to invest in the right people, the right support, the right strategy, in knowing that the payoff will come later. And there's a leap of faith, and you have to lean in to the unknown, and you have to be comfortable with not having a clear picture of what this is going to look like. But more than anything, that listen, if I just add value, if I add value to team members, I offer phenomenal support over and above what the brokerage might provide. And in our case here at Compass, our firm offers a tremendous amount, much more than many other companies out there. But as a team leader, you have to double down on value. You have to show up. For me, I'm actively in the business, so I feel like the value prop that I provide is that I am out there. I'm in the trenches. I know the challenges. I know what we deal with day to day. I understand how to navigate a negotiation, and among other things, I'm able to share my best practices in hopes that team members grab hold of that and then carry that forward to increase their business and the effort that they put in that they're able to realize.
Mm-hmm. How much do you rely on technology in your business from a leveraging standpoint?
That's a great question on leverage. I can tell you, we've never leveraged technology more than we have since being on board at Compass. Mm-hmm. Meaning our platform is like nothing no one else has in this industry. Certainly the CRM. We are all in with the utilization of our CRM. Go back to that 75%. Yeah, I'm here to tell you it's a part of the CRM. It's the platform. It's the ease of execution for marketing. You take steps out of the equation. And when you do that, you're able to leverage the technology so it doesn't take as long to get a result that will profoundly affect your business and what comes back. So being that all the marketing is plugged in there, we're able to collaborate with team members for marketing projects and whatever it is we're working on. We could share CMA across team members, multiple team members, as many of us team up for listings. Same thing for buyer tours or collections. Then we could have team members plugged in all along the way, so we're all on the same page and we're all singing from the same hymnal, so to speak.
To that point, I was chatting with an agent within Compass out in the LA market a couple of weeks ago, and she has this massive project, beautiful project out in actually Costa Rica. And, she's really making her pitch within the sports and entertainment division community to, reach out to those clients and share that project with our clients. And to the point that you're making, I mean, it was just a click of a button. I mean, she shared with me the marketing for that community, and I just reshare it with the people within my sphere. And so, to the point that you're making, that is a huge value prop for us within Compass and what we're able to do as it pertains to connecting with one another, but also connecting with our customers.
Totally agree. Anytime you could take friction out of the equation or minimize friction, things happen. It's amazing how much more you can get done if you lean into technology, right? That's another thing. Talk about somebody that's been in the business for as long as I have. I'm here to tell you there are people that I entered this business with who are, at one point they were relevant, but many of them are not relevant. And I would tell you, in part because they're not leaning in to leverage, and technology is one of those levers that we could press and pull, right? Mm-hmm. You could leverage money, you could leverage time, you could leverage technology, you could leverage people, and right? Anything that you can do to multiply your efforts or to shorten the amount of time it takes to get something done, the better off you will be as a business person, especially in real estate.
The last point I'll make, and you've kind of already hit it on this previously, but I just kind of want to double back to it, is just the value of partnerships. In really being in partnership with the right people. I just can't stress enough that, outside of even your team, what does that look like for your business, Scott? What are some of those partnerships that you use as leverage to really not only make business easier, but provide a better experience to the customer?
Yeah, I will tell you, frankly, interacting with other people such as yourself, Steve, as mentioned, you and I have had several conversations in person, on the phone, on Zooms. I'm always learning, and anytime that we can get around other high achievers, then we're able to take what we learn through those interactions and better service our clients. And with Compass Sports and Entertainment in particular, we are at an especial advantage by the fact that we are connected to so many high achievers all across the country, and where we're talking about our challenges and our initiatives and whatever we're doing to innovate, right? And then furthermore, how does that help our client? Well, we're also sending referrals back and forth, right? And what better to leverage than a relationship and trust? And that's what I have as I send someone over to you in Raleigh, or if we send somebody down to Texas or Florida. we have a relationship that has already been built and is put together. We could, it's not even a handoff, to be frank with you. It is a partnership with an agent in this other city and this other state. And that's why our clients are coming to us to say, well, who do you know? I'm relocating to Tampa and I'm taking a new position with the Bucks. Who do you know down there? Right. And we could speak having had FaceTime and experience in knowing that whomever we're passing or connecting with, that is somebody that's going to take the same care that we would for this client that we work so hard to gain.
I want to show you a video, Scott, and you probably could appreciate this. Are you a Jim Collins fan?
Absolutely. Good to Great.
Of Good to Great. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to show you a video by.
Every time you say I'm going to show you a video, I'm thinking you're going to pull up something from my Auburn football camp days. I'm like, oh.
I didn't know you were a Tiger.
It was summer camp. Okay. I didn't go there for college, but I did football camp there for, I think, 4 or 5 years in a row. Yeah.
Very nice. Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. All right. Let me share this video. You can see my video just fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi there. Jim Collins here, and I'm excited to share my latest publication. It's called Turning the Flywheel. It's a monograph to accompany Good to Great. And the monograph begins with the story of Amazon.com, grabbing the flywheel concept. Coming out of the dot-com bust in 2001, after being taught the idea, but then taking it to another level and saying what we need to do is to capture the drivers in our flywheel, crystallize the components of our flywheel, and then turn that flywheel to build relentless momentum, unstoppable momentum. The Amazon case is an archetype of a spectacularly powerful flywheel. And it's the starting point of this conversation. But what it really leads to is the idea that to get full power out of the flywheel principle, it's very helpful to rigorously ask the question, how does our flywheel turn? What are the components in our flywheel? What's the sequence in the flywheel? How can we do for ourselves what Amazon did for itself?
I'll stop it there. I presume you are familiar with that concept of the flywheel.
Yep.
How does Pridemore Properties flywheel turn, Scott?
Yeah, I would tell you it's ever changing, and actually I'm proud of that, to be frank with you, because any system, and that's what we're talking about, is a system. A flywheel is a structure and how you execute the structure, right? And you could have different, like whatever you plug into your flywheel, the whole idea is to use best practices. Okay, so it might look like part of our flywheel would be client events, face-to-face interaction, which is a part of client events, during the transaction, wowing the client, white glove service. After the transaction, how are we doing our gifting? How are we doing our follow-up 30, 60, 90 days, a year after they purchase? Are we, once again, going back to that beyond the transaction, right? I mean, how much information are we getting so we could plug it into the CRM? And then once again, it's the process, it's the system. So I would tell you on the agent to agent level, and I think anybody could execute, it's all around the client. And then as a team leader, then you have another flywheel. Okay, or what are you doing as a team leader to really give your agent team members the best structure? And that might mean a certain amount of social media that we're creating in the background that they could utilize and deploy easily. It might mean transaction management is a part of that flywheel. Training, constant training, staying out in the forefront, best practices. That's where Mike or myself or Lynn on our team would help with that training aspect. Adding video, training around video. So you could have more than one flywheel, because let's face it, as a team leader, Steve, you know this better than anybody. You're wearing different hats. You need to have more than one flywheel.
Going to the point that you were making with client events, you do a number of client events and tailgate events and other branding events. But these, from what I can tell, they're not just branding tactics, but they appear to also be fun and organic ways to connect with your customers. And I would imagine it perhaps also leads to new relationships being established.
Totally. I mean, I'll tell you right now, for anyone listening, if you're not doing client events, you better jump on it now. Like the impact that you could have, the whole idea of a client event is to scale face-to-face interaction. Okay. Certainly you can go and have one-on-ones with all of your clients. That's great. Everybody should be doing that. But there's only a certain amount of hours in the day. You can't always do that, right? We still have to work the business, work in the business and outside of the business, and work our clients or what have you. So if you're in the beauty of a scaled effort of having a client event, for us, our tailgate is our big event, or our big package of events that we have during the Panthers football season. So we create invitations.
And I'm getting to that this year, Scott, by the way. I am coming.
I hope you do. I want you to here, let me tell you, Steve, I want you to bring the family. I want you to bring your friends.
Yes.
You follow what I'm doing there?
Yes, sir.
Like that's the magic.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We're not going to talk about real estate. I'm there to get to know you better. I'm there to treat you. I want you, we're going to have live music. We're going to have catered food. We're going to have a TV set up, tables. You get to interact with some really incredible people, team members, but also you get to meet a lot of my personal clients that have thought enough of me to allow me to help them buy or sell real estate for many, many times over. And maybe some of my clients have things in common with your clients. So maybe there's some good synergy.
Yeah.
You might bring a friend that's, let's say, an attorney, and that attorney's going to connect with one of my clients as an attorney. There's some common threads, or their kids they already know each other.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm doing there?
It's brilliant because it also makes it easier for clients of yours who may even own businesses or have certain, practices, what have you, to be able to have a warm customer that they are, or potential relationship that they're.
We want to be a connector.
Yeah.
We want to connect our clients with other clients, not just my clients, but team members' clients. Hopefully there's something, from a business perspective that people could gain through this, but without fail, there's always a relational interest that someone is going to have, and to come, and they don't have to go to the game. And Frank, I'll tell you, the past 2 years with the Panthers, our event is the main event, right? I don't always go to the Panthers game.
Right.
Many of the people that attend our tailgates don't. They come for the tailgate. And it's a 2.5 hour gathering of great food, music, and camaraderie.
That is so awesome. Really, I love that. I want to switch gears for a quick second. Was there a challenging time in the business where you, Scott, had to develop and demonstrate leadership skills that perhaps you didn't even realize you had?
Wow. That's a good one. Yeah. Always. It sounds like the easy answer. I will say, I don't know if there's a given moment. I could probably point to a few moments where I feel like I earned the business, but I didn't get it. And I took it personal, and I decided I'm going to commit myself to getting better. I'm never going to not win a listing or an opportunity based on my skill set. And once I did that, then I think everything changed. And then as a team leader, I would say we don't have many people leave the team, but occasionally we have. And then I go introspective. I think, well, what could I have done differently? And not always is it the case that I could have done anything differently.
Yeah.
But I think stepping out of judgment and into curiosity is really what we're talking about here. I'm not going to judge someone else's perception. I'm going to be curious about what they're like, what were they thinking and what was the reason? So I think I'm always failing and I'm always willing to course correct. Okay. So within that, it's not one or two profound failures. The bigger picture is there's been thousands of failures, and my willingness to just pick myself up, dust myself off, and get back on the horse.
As a team leader, you are in a position where you have to cast a vision for the team, for the company. How often should a leader cast a vision for the organization?
I will tell you, that's a tricky one. I'd like to have a vision of a real-time vision of who we are at any given moment that is felt more so than what is written down. Okay. And a lot of people ask our team members, like, what's it like? What's it like being on the Pridemore team? Everybody has something different that really resonates with them. But I would tell you, overall, it's about truly caring about each other. It's the same philosophy that I adhere for my clients, to be frank with you. We care. We want each other to be successful. We champion each other, and we try to help at all costs. And it's a judgment-free zone. And if someone falls down, we help the other person get up and move forward. Just constantly move forward. It is just I know it sounds trite and it sounds simple, but I'm here to tell you that most teams don't have that.
Mm-hmm.
So as simple as it is, it's hard to replicate.
Regarding communication and being an effective communicator, when you're trying to get a message through to your organization, what does effective communication look like? Is it simply just, stating it verbally in a team meeting? Is it more written? Is it a combination of both?
I'd say it's a combination. It's a combination, but the beauty of, I'll just sort of just say that with communication always being open and available, but certainly there's an element of having written communication that is of value. So then everybody has that. We all know like the rules of engagement and how whatever it is, whatever initiative we might be working on, or it's all in writing. But certainly team meetings, we meet every week. We talk about hot topics. We talk about any particular like buyer needs, listings. We talk about anything we have coming up that we're going to do collaboratively for it, like a client event or a community event. Honestly, I feel like the communication piece, and also people know that they can always text or call me. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Mike. Same thing with Lynn. It's okay. If someone didn't open up their email, it's okay. Mm-hmm. No judgment. We also have a text group that, someone might pop in a question on the text group, even if it's been covered in an email, that's okay. We're all busy. We have things coming at us all the time. So just, I think having multi-channel communication is important.
Last question for you, Scott. I want to bring this home to the pro athlete who is really in a position where I think of the pro athlete as their own business. They are a business entity of themselves.
Agree.
But they have to build a team out for themselves as well. What would be some advice you would give to them as they are beginning that process of building out that team who's going to help them essentially with off the field, off the court, whatever matters? What does that look like?
I mean, one of my golden rules is proximity is power. You got to be in proximity with people that honestly, that number one, that don't need anything from you. Okay. Like, you got to really let that sink in.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be open to improving the people that you're connected to, right? That's okay. That doesn't mean that we're throwing away old friends, but it might mean we're going to have a new people in our friend group or our connected group that there's no expectation of that you have to show up and do something or be a certain person for them. Okay. And then high achievers, look around. This goes with anybody, pro athletes or not. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay. So I'd think we all should do an audit, and you should get yourself in community with people that want more, that want to be more, that want to invest, that want to commit to excellence on every level. Okay. And I feel like that's one thing I think has definitely helped me is wanting to put myself in a position to reach. If I see somebody doing something that I want to do, well, I'm going to make sure I connect with that person. And, there's a CPA in town that when I first got into the business, he wouldn't see anybody unless they were doing a certain amount of business. Okay. I said, well, I'll come back and I'll see you in 2 years. And I went back and I said, okay, I'm ready. I need the best tax advice you have.
That's right.
And I understand you're still the best. Here I am. I want to hire you. Who are you using to help with your real estate investments? Who are you using for, wealth planning, estate planning, preparing yourself for when, the big checks are not coming in. And then once again, surrounding yourself with friends who care.
Man, Scott Pridemore. Man, we could go for another 2 hours, I tell you. But look, so grateful. This was really good. You never fall short of providing incredible value, my friend. Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure, Steve. I love what you're doing here. I'll tell you, you're a natural interviewer. You're so good at this. You're pulling stuff out. I didn't see these questions in advance. I hope I'm going to go back and watch this, make sure that I feel good about my answers. But I think it went well, and I appreciate you making me feel so comfortable. And I'm honored to be here on your podcast.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.